let's try some religious logic here. It befuddles my mind that there are people on this planet, especially people of color, who have become a religion or they are devoted to a religion that if they were to look at the history of their religion, and most of them don't even have to go look, they know the history of the country to which they live in. How is it that you are so faithful to a religion that you were born into, granted, but when you look at your history of your people and you're so proud that you still follow the religion of your oppressors? You see, Latinos, help me out. Most of you guys who are walking around proud Latinos, proud Hispanics, proud Puerto Ricans, proud Mexicans, proud Nicaraguans, Panamanians, proud Brazilians, you are Catholic. Are you Catholic because your ancestors heard the word of Jesus? They heard the missionaries and they were so captivated by it that they shrugged off their old religions and then followed the Bible? No. It was the Spanish and the Portuguese that went into Central and South America and parts of North America, conquered and brutally beat your people, murdered them, stole their gold, stole their heritage, changed their culture, stole their everything, even stole your names. All these Spanish people walking around and I'm a proud Martinez and I'm a proud Cortez and I'm a proud Barbosas, and these are not your names. These are the names of your conquerors. Yes, Juan, Jose, Maria. These are the names of your conquerors. These are not Mayan names, Aztec names, Seminole names. These are not the names of the Taino people. These are the names of your conquerors. But you walk around proud of it. You constantly go to mass. You believe in Jesus, and some of you have even mixed in a little of the old Santeria into you, and I'm probably saying that wrong, into your religion. Mixed in some of your ancestral teachings into your religion, and you're proud of it. Proud that your ancestors were beaten, stolen, enslaved, murdered, and forced into a religion. And they're not the only ones. All these people in the Americas, the North America. Your ancestors came over as slaves. If they didn't come over as slaves, their land was stolen to them. They were given diseases. They were forced to become part of the 5 civilized tribes, would mean that they had to convert over to Christianity in order to survive in what had became the Europeans, North America. They stole your name, they stole your culture, they stole the way you dress. They stole your religion, they stole your spirituality. And now you proudly on every Sunday go to church. You proudly bow down to the God that they gave you. Sure, just like the others, you've mixed in a little bit of your voodoo, your Ifa, your native spiritualisms. But for the most part, you believe that the true God that you answer to is the God of your conquerors, and you still follow their beliefs. I can halfway understand when our ancestors were being whipped and beaten, when they were being held at gunpoint and sword point. I can halfway understand when they threatened the lives of your children, and yet you still remain. You're not threatened anymore. You're smart enough to know the history, but yet you still remain. And for all those people in other places around the world, in the Indus Valley, the Afghans, the Turks, the Moors, and yes, you Moors who claim Islam, it is only through the conquest of the Arab nations that you became such, that your ancestors became such. And some of you are claiming it. Oh, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I'm a Moor because our Moorish ancestors did this and did that. Prove it. Where's your documentation of your personal heritage that goes back to the Moors, that goes back to the Hebrew Israelites. There are no lost tribes. They were absorbed into the Assyrian Empire when they were conquered, and then furthermore absorbed into the Babylonian Empire when they were conquered. When the northern Israelites were conquered, that's where they went. They didn't come to the Americas. They didn't flee to Europe or flee to Africa. No. They were part of those people. And then once they were conquered by the Arabs, they became Muslim. For the ones who did come to the Americas and you found yourself here, you try to attach yourself to those people because you don't want to accept transatlantic slavery and the trans-Saharan slavery. Yeah, some people did great things while under this captivity, but that doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it real. Your ancestors, even if you could prove that your ancestors came from North Africa, that your ancestors came from the Levant, prior to the conquest of the Arab nation and prior to the conquest of the Romans, your ancestors worshiped a different deity, but yet you've conformed. You believe in whatever they have taught you. You try to make their book fit into your realm and your narrative. It doesn't work because logic dictates that it's not your truth. It is not anyone's truth. And Europeans, you're not free from it. Your ancestors once worshipped Thor, Woden, once worshipped other deities of the Druids and other religions, the Germanian deities. But what happened? Well, when Rome conquered Europe, they forced your ancestors into Christianity as well. When England fought against the Irish and the Scottish and the Vikings, they forced them into Christianity. They said, I'll give you land and I'll give you prominence. All you have to do is become Christian. And then as the age of exploration went around, they continued to conquer and they continued to push and force this religion. But even all over Europe, the kings and queens and popes, they decided what your ancestors were going to believe. And if you need proof of it, just look at the inquisitions that happened all throughout Europe, especially in Spain, and in Spain, Italy, and England. Look at the oppression that they caused. Look at the witch hunts. Because even when you had a varying versions of Christianity, they still massacred and murdered your ancestors, put them on trial, locked them up in jail cells to force your ancestors to become Christian as well. So who should be Christian is the question. The only people who have somewhat of a stance of believing in this are the people of the Levant who converted over to this religion. Those are the only ones who would actually have been in the presence of this historical character, which we know is possible that there's multiple characters that make up the one. But even for those people, the origin of your Old Testament stories to which you draw out your Christian story, it comes from the Sumerians, it comes from the Canaanite people. It is not an original story that was from the beginning. The Sumerians, the Kemetic people were here long before, and many elements of your story can be found in their previously told stories. So even for those people, you were forced into this religion. If you truly want to know what spirituality is truly for you, strip away everything and start brand new. Decide for yourself without a predetermined landing point. When you can do that, and you can look at everything logically and with critical thinking, you will recognize that none of the religions of today are true in any form or fashion. Even the Brahmin, the Buddhist, none of them. And Buddhism is more of a philosophy in the same way that alchemy is. So, what religion should you follow? Not the one of your oppressors, not the one that forced your ancestors. That's an easy one to decide. So that means none of the Abrahamic religions should be anyone's religion. Find your own personal spirituality, but the only way you're going to find it is by looking inward and not looking outward. So this makes no sense. But what do you guys think? And always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.